Hey, I am here to give you real stories about investing in big and small properties. It's really not that hard to get into this investing world if you don't have a ton of cash. Today, I know my sound guy hates it when I hit the table, but I have a great story about investing in $1 million property, and I only had a few dollars. So, before I get too far, housekeeping. Subscribe to the channel. We love it when you subscribe. Watch the other videos on my channel about my new RV park adventure, where myself and another partner are building the first RV park in Athens, Georgia. Blammo. To begin with, how do you find deals? How do you find a self-storage deal? Well, you send out mail. You send out mail directly to owners. You send out mail directly to property managers, which means maybe directly to the property, addressed to the property manager on site. Also, you could send out ringless voicemail. Ringless voicemail can work sometimes, and text messages can work as well. In 2018, prices started skyrocketing for every kind of class of real estate. In the world of mom and pop, sometimes they don't know what their property's worth, but they know what number they want if they want to sell. We were sending out a few pieces of mail. We had an amazing referral deal where we sent out a letter to property managers saying, hey, we are looking for self-storage properties to acquire with our group. We are a small group, but we close almost every time we make an offer. And we want to keep people on site. Sometimes property managers might just throw a letter like that in the trash because they think if you buy their property, they're going to get the can or the fired. The way to circumvent that idea is to say, hey, property manager, we want to keep you on board. And if they know a lot about the property, they might know their owner ain't never going to sell. So you should say, hey, we also pay referrals. So what we offered was, send us somebody who might want to sell a property and we'll pay you $500. And for an on-site property manager, that's a pretty big deal. I'd take $500 just for referring a name of somebody that might close. And it worked. We got a call from a lady. She said, we don't want to sell, but Miss Deborah wants to sell down the street. So we called up Miss Deborah. She was a very nice lady. She had taken over this property from a divorce, and she had never wanted to run this property to begin with. Her husband bought it, and the husband ran it. And this was less than 200 units, but they thought it was enough to have an on-site manager. So when we acquired it, they had an almost full-time manager. They had about 180 units, and they were about 98% occupied. So the physical occupancy, 98%, but the economic occupancy is what people actually pay per month, what you collect each month. And that was somewhere in the high 60s. So, you see some issues there. 10 units were just the owners, so that's no good. And then there was like 20 or so units that maybe nobody had paid on in a very long time, or they were paying on it, but they had a balance due that was in the level of the thousands. We thought, how can we make this deal work? How can I jump into this deal and I only have $25,000 to invest? Well, turns out Miss Deborah, she wanted $500,000. So if we go to the bank and say, hey, Mr. Banker, we want to buy this property. If you got a $500,000 property, you need 20% down. That's $100,000. We just went to a few other buddies, got 5 people together, and we knew we needed $60,000 to $70,000 to remodel the place. We put our money together, said, let's go make Miss Deborah an offer. And guess what? Miss Deborah, just like a lot of people, she didn't want to pay a whole lot of taxes. And she did not want to do a 1031. She was going to get penalized for selling a property that she didn't want anymore. She was going to solve her problem of not having to run this business, but then she was going to lose 15% of her big payday right to Uncle Sam. Oh my gosh. So hey, guess what? We helped her solve that problem by saying, hey, Miss Deborah, how about you be the bank? We've got our money ready. We'll give you $35,000 down right now, today. Better yet, we said, hey, how much do you owe on the property? And it was a decent sized mortgage. And we said, hey, how about if we just take over your mortgage and pay you a lease that where you bring home almost the same amount of money you brought home when you were running the property. And we were like, there's no way she's going to accept that. Why would we even make that offer? Doesn't matter. You should not ever, as an investor, think, I wonder what they'll take. There's no way they would take this or that, so we better only offer this. Throw out great offers for yourself. Not only great offers that the seller might take, you got to throw out a great offer that you yourself want. And I love seller financing because that means I don't have to go to the banker. I don't have to do a bunch of pre-qualification. If you have 5 partners in a deal, all 5 partners have to apply and sign on to be a guarantor. And that's if you're doing a certain kind of JV. That doesn't matter for this video. This is a story about how I got into a property. Ended up being only a $20,000 investment, including everybody else that was in the deal. $20,000 investment. And we took over this property. We gave Miss Deborah her $35,000 down. We had an on-site manager that truly helped us jump in, collecting money from day one. She wanted $500,000, and we gave her $500,000. If she listed it on the MLS, not on the MLS, she listed it with a real estate broker, which I myself am a real estate broker, they would have maybe listed it for $600,000 or $650,000, but they probably would have sold it for $550,000 and then taken $50,000 as a commission. And so Miss Deborah still gets only $500,000, plus she has to pay Uncle Sam 15% of whatever that profit was from her original basis. So we were able to get all that out of the way and close very quick. I think from the first time we talked to her until the day of closing, it's probably 60 days. So we weren't even under contract for 60 days. We talked to her and then we were buying it 60 days later. We bought this property for $500,000. Then, add on to that, we found another property 3 miles down the street for $550,000. So now we're all in for $1,050,000 plus a little bit of upgrades, which I think we spent about $100,000 total on the 2 properties. 3 years later, we sold them for $2.1 million. Bam! Payday. It was happy for all of us. A bigger, not mom and pop, bought our entire portfolio, somewhere around 13 properties that we had acquired. And Miss Deborah was happy in this. Me and my 4 partners were happy in this. It actually ended up being 6 partners total at the end of the day at one point. And I ended up being able to roll my money into a whole mobile home park property. Talk about that on another video. Smash the subscribe for more fun videos about real estate. Thanks for listening.